Hey, Layla. Nah, I used to play Sims years ago. That Sims 2. I played Sims I used to play Sims 2 years ago. Long time ago. I stopped because I had a point where I realized that I had no idea why I was even playing it because it's a boring, pointless game. Hey, Croons. Crazy Taxi. I've heard of that game. Never played it myself, but I've heard of it. Hi, Stacy. Crazy Taxi. Wasn't there a Simpsons Hit and Run based on... Wasn't that game based on Crazy Taxi? Hey, Vanna. Hey, Jordan. Men never seem to like Sims. I don't see the point. It's just I just don't really see. I just don't really see the point of The Sims. I don't know. I like stories. I enjoy seeing good writing. You know? Kind of dull his play. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose like your own stories, the characters, but I just find The Sims to be boring. You know what I don't find boring? Your mom. Pokemon Go updated and it made my avatar ugly. Ah. Well, that's a shame. You should complain directly to Nintendo. Just go straight to the head of Nintendo and be like, hey. Niantic? Okay. You should still go straight to the head of Nintendo. Go straight to Mr. Miyamoto himself and be like, hey, Miyamoto, why is my avatar so ugly now? And then he'll be like, well, because it's based on you. Hey, potato salad. Write Nintendo a letter? Yep. Not even a letter, just go right to the office. You know, go to the Nintendo's offices, head office in Japan. Just go right up the elevator, just be like, I've got it. They'll be like, do you have an appointment? I'll be like, no, but he's gonna see me. Go full Chris Chan like when they gave Sonic blue arms. I mean, why wouldn't Sonic have blue arms? He had white gloves. Like, he wears white gloves, but why wouldn't his arms be blue? His fur is blue. Why would somebody be upset about Sonic having blue arms? What color are they supposed to be? Tirades, letters, and videos for months with 3-page long Twitter rants. Hedgehogs aren't even blue. But Sonic is. Sonic is blue. Yeah, what color did he want Sonic's arms to be, Jordan? That's the question I have. Like, what color did he want Sonic's arms to be? They were tan for years? Then one day they made them blue for a new show and he lost his goddamn mind. I mean, I feel like he'd lost his mind well before that. Entire year's worth of content. But yeah, I get the impression that Chris Chan was never a particularly stable person. So, like, Chris Chan lost their mind is like, did he ever have one? Did he ever have it in the first place? Going to pirate something out of spite? Autism works in mysterious ways. I mean, his problem wasn't being autistic. His problem was just being fucking weird. I mean, like, he clearly had, clearly severe mental health issues. I don't know. That's just part of the Chris Chan spectrum. Exactly. He's on his entirely own spectrum. Anywho. Christian, Jesus Christ, man. Well, who knows? Maybe he is the second coming. Hey, Comic Brook. Jesus Christ came back obsessed with Sonic the Hedgehog. Who knows? Oh, Christine, no. We finale? I hope we're finaleing. I am optimistic. I'm very optimistic that this will be the actual end of the game. The only thing I'm concerned about is that there are still 5 things left in the archives. 5 fairy tales left. He loves MLP, though. In my defense, I've had nothing to do with MLP since Friendship is Magic ended. Yeah, like since the series, the finale of Friendship is Magic, like I haven't watched any of the other shows. Like I haven't watched like the Ponytails. What's it called? I haven't watched like the new movie or Hey Color Purple or show or whatever. So I haven't watched any of the newer stuff since that series ended. Obviously, stop. Haven't been reading the comics for like 3 years. Haven't read any of the comics in the past few years. Neither is he. Another rant about how Latish's are trash and to rip the creators until they blocked him. Yep. Well, worked on Ponytails is somebody I actually followed on Twitter. Comic creator I follow on Twitter. Blanking on the name. I'm blanking on who it was. It was a black woman, I believe, that I followed on Twitter, who worked on Ponytails. And yeah, I'm sure the newer stuff. I'm sure it's great stuff. I just never got around to watching it. Anyway, 15 minutes in, let us begin. And yes, we are in the Nahima ending. That's actually called Nahima ending. So we are in the ending. And this leads to a bad ending. I want to see, like, sort of how, hey, Scapegoat, see how long it takes to lead to a bad ending. Listen to her and rest. You must certainly be right. There. I knew I could convince you. Let us settle down as comfortably as possible and not think about it anymore. Tomorrow is another day. Hey, Joel. The heiress half-heartedly nodded. She could not shake that deep-rooted feeling that she was missing something, but decided to trust her companion all the same. Thus, the two maidens laid down on their bed of moss and lost no time in reaching Morpheus' domain. Nahima was certain that she had made the right choice, that she had followed the most logical path, but their lack of information concerning their pursuers quickly proved to be disastrous. Indeed, Kiana was roused from her sweet sleep at daybreak by the cold touch of metal against her cheek. She immediately shuddered, but it was already too late. In a gasp of horror, she only had time to perceive the hands reaching for her before promptly being captured by a stranger. Guards had invaded their place of rest during the night, surrounding them for good. Remind me what happened at the very end last time? So, Kiana and Nahima had escaped the palace together. They'd gone to... was it Griseld? Prince Griseld's kingdom. Nahima was working on Fleur's farm. Kiana was working in the palace. Guards from her father's kingdom came and asked around about two dark-skinned women. So they ran into the forest, went to bed, and now have been captured. Princess Kiana, you were accused of desertion. Escorted back to the castle, blah blah blah. Alright, not going to bother going through the whole ending. Guards, I wasn't clear on? Yeah. Not going to go through the entire bad ending. Because we don't have we need to finish up as quickly as we can, because I don't know how long it's left here. Insist on resuming your journey. My head tells me that you are right, Nahima. Yet my heart incites me to believe in myself. I know I made you work hard to build that improvised shelter, and I too believed it was our best option at the time, but I am not so sure anymore. I have this terrible feeling all of a sudden. Those girls kissed? Oh, that's right, they also kissed. They smooched last time. They kissed. They kissed and smooched. A little voice is whispering to me that they are already at our heels. Preposterous! We ventured quite deep into this forest, and they have no way of knowing that we are here. I am not saying that we are completely out of danger, but it should at least take them a couple of hours to catch up with us. This is more than enough to build up our strength. And what if one of the farmers had seen us? Fleur did say that the horse riders had been exceptionally threatening. They would have no problem extracting a confession from them. Besides, what will happen if we sleep for too long? You are worrying too much, Princess. My mind cannot be at rest. Please, let us leave. But where to? In that direction. I know there is something there that can help us. I just need to remember what. Nahima let out a heavy sigh, chagrined to be forced to say farewell to her well-deserved rest. So be it. I will follow you. Without waiting a moment longer, the two maidens stood up and packed their belongings. So that they would not be completely helpless in the dark, they made primitive torches out of two robust pieces of wood, as well as the embers from the modest fire they had lit. Quick, follow me. I hear suspicious noises in the distance. It might just be wild animals. I have heard that wolves and bears live around here. Oh, I would not like to come face to face with one of those. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! Overcome by paranoia, Kiana dashed deeper into the woods. Lions and lesbos and bears, oh my! Robust, turgid. But Princess, wait for me, will you? In response, the princess started to step up her pace, outright running. She seemed terrorized, as if she had been hunted by shadows. As night was settling, a strong wind arose, which amplified her fears. She thought she was hearing on all sides of the woods the vibrations of galloping horses coming to capture them. She did not dare to speak to her comrade anymore, nor did she dare to turn her head. She could only press forward faster still, distraught. Already tired after their long day, the lady-in-waiting struck out to keep her in her field of view. Stumbling on branches, scratching herself against bushes, she had to deploy her last strength so that she would not lose sight of her mistress. At last, the latter stopped in her tracks on the edge of the forest. Look, Nahima, over there! This is the parish located in the vicinity of Fleur's farm. Torrid. I knew I had forgotten something important. Let us ask them for help. Do you think so? We are two travelers in a pitiful state. I can hardly imagine any religious person refusing us hospitality. Besides, it will be far more comfortable than sleeping in a mattress made of moss. What do you say? You are absolutely right. I have reached my limit anyway. I will never manage to go further. So that is settled. Cautiously, the two maidens came out of hiding and knocked on the church's enormous entrance. Open the door! For the love of God, open the door! They frantically banged on it for several long minutes until they heard a muffled voice on the other side. Who goes there at this time? Finally, through the half-open door, they caught a glimpse of the somewhat disheveled head of a nun who had obviously put her clothes on in haste. What can I do for you? We apologize for bothering you, sister, but we would like to request hospitality for the night. We have nowhere to go. Come in. With a grateful smile, Kiana and Nahima did not need to be persuaded, and slipped into the building as the imposing door was slammed behind them. Would you like to have a meal? You seem exhausted. It would be very much welcome. We've only been eating berries the whole day, which is hardly nourishing. In that case, sit down in that corner. I am going to heat up some gruel at once. We are much obliged for your help, sister. Not only had the nun kept her promise, returning with arms full of victuals, but she had also awakened her colleagues at the same time. Indeed, the navel quickly became quite lively. As the retainer was wolfing down her porridge as if she had been famished, the heiress felt compelled to start a conversation with the Carmelites who had joined them. Our apologies for the inconvenience. It is nothing. Truth be told, we had just gone to bed. We usually stay awake as late as possible, in order to accommodate any potential lost traveler. It is a part of our walk. What the hell accent am I doing? Trying to do a French accent. Baguette de fromage! We usually stay awake. Baguette de fromage? We usually stay awake. Yeah. Absolutely. Fuck accents. I'll just give her a normal voice because I can't get my French accent working. At the end of the meal, the abbess introduced herself to properly greet them. What brings you to our church at this hour? You do not seem like passing merchants. That is correct. In all honesty, we are being sought by King Thibault's riders. They are relentlessly hunting us down. Sweet Jesus! What crime have you committed? Alas, what crime have I refused to commit, rather? King Thibault is actually my father. A widower for many years, he had planned to remarry, and he settled on me. On you? Heavens, is that man mad? I fear so. He coerced me into marrying him on pain of death. I have attempted many times to get him to see sense, to no avail. He insisted that he did not care about Christian morality, and that he was ready to break any taboo. This is quite simply monstrous, treating the flesh of his flesh this way. Kian was relieved to note that the nuns had nothing but compassion for them. After days and days of clandestinity, she thought she had detected a form of validation in their words, and, guided by her instinct, a slightly crazy idea came to her. For this very reason, I have escaped with my lady-in-waiting. We were hoping to become nuns, so as to lead a life of devotion, far from royal schemes. Do you think it would be possible? I can assure that we are both virgins, and... Game can't end until the incest king is forced to work as a scullery maid. The abbess considered her proposal with utmost seriousness. The last point has no significance, my child. Quite a few married women take the vows after becoming widows. It does not give you moral or spiritual superiority in any way. However, do you aspire to cloister yourself? In view of the demand, we unfortunately cannot guarantee that it will be possible. Therefore, you will need an adequate dowry. Insofar as I have gone into exile, I am now a pauper. Even so, it is perfectly fine with me. I would rather contribute to the community, even if it means working on menial tasks. It would be quite a shame for a princess of your stature to be regarded as a second-rate nun. We can still find an agreement. I am an only child, therefore my father's domains should theoretically be handed down to me after his death, as long as he has no other descendant at least. What an extremely interesting agreement! However, I do need to warn you. The king is ruined. Neither the castle nor the lands will necessarily be in good condition. The church always needs more lands. And then it will be our mission to make them fertile again, and spread our precepts to the communities that live there. In exchange, I can promise to give you a privileged position among us. I would still prefer to be useful to the community, rather than cloistering myself away. And, if possible, I do not want to be separated from my companion, who is very dear to me. Very well. In that case, you'll neither be cloistered nuns, nor second-rate ones. I guarantee you both a respectable position, an intermediate one. I think this will make a good compromise, do you not agree? This is more than enough. I am much obliged to you for generosity, Abbess. We shall do our utmost to become worthy of the honor. Is that all right with you, Nahima? She then turned to the young Moor, who had remained quiet throughout the negotiation process. Naturally. I would have never imagined taking the veil one day, as I have been raised to serve you. But I take that as a new challenge. Give me some time to learn, and you will not be disappointed. I like this way of seeing things. In that case, that is settled. Maidens, you are now part of our lovely parish. I am counting on all the girls present tonight to integrate you into our big happy family as soon as possible. As the nuns were congratulating the newcomers, all smiles, a dull beating suddenly resounded. The laughters instantly turned into anxious looks. Here they are, Princess. They must have found us. Oh, what are we going to do? Let me handle it. You are now under our protection. Yeah, you don't want French nuns pissed off at you. Even soldiers fear nuns. Hand her a paddle, and she will beat the entire goddamn army back. Give a nun a paddle, and she will defeat an entire army. Nuit Noire. With a nod of her head, the abbess motioned a young nun to escort the two friends. She hid them under a bed in a neighboring room and directed them not to make any noise. At the same moment, the church's door was revealing the king's horse riders, ready to rush inside. "What does this racket mean? You cannot be unaware that we usually sleep at this time of night." "My apologies, ma'am. We are conscious about being in the dead of the night, but the matter which brings us to you is most urgent." "We are looking for two fugitives, two girls with dark skin. Have you seen them?" I decided to give that guy a funny voice just because why not? "Witnesses have apparently caught a glimpse of two silhouettes that match this profile, knocking on your door." "We did receive two travelers a few hours ago, but they have long since left." "So you are accomplices!" "Dude, you gonna pick a fight with the church?" "You are setting foot in a convent, gentlemen. Giving hospitality to those in need is our purpose. We cannot and we do not want to verify the identity of all those who cross this threshold." "Admittedly, in that case, you will have no objection to me and my men combing through your church to ensure our two fugitives are no longer in the vicinity." The guards attempted to force the door open so that the abbess would not have any choice, which she did not appreciate in the least. "How dare you! Searching us and treating us as common criminals! This, my good sirs, is the house of God. Respecting us is also respecting Him. If you do not want your lapse of judgment to lead you to hell, I'd recommend to not forget that detail." With one single movement, all the nuns gathered on the entrance to defend their superior. Everything in their posture, in their fierce look, was screaming hostility. The nun said ACAB. The nun said 1312. Why do all the nuns have the same face? Cloning. I'm gonna go ahead and guess cloning. She's right. If you want to rummage through our convent, you'll have to step over us first. If you're the slightest bit conscious about what you're doing, go back to where you come from. One does not break down the doorway to the Lord's house with impunity. Robo-nuns. Exactly. Be gone, birds of ill omen. Fuck 13. Nuns versus knights. Telling you, I'd give the advantage to the nuns. Everyone's scared of nuns. Although the henchmen rarely had scruples, they were no less believers than any other subject. The sisters' aggressiveness scared them. Right? They have numbers but no weapons. Their weapon is just look bad to hurt a nun though. I mean, nuns are just scary. They'll give you a paddling. They'll wrap your knuckles. The sisters' aggressiveness scared them, and they did not dare to openly trample on a place of worship. Therefore, they chose not to insist and left again, abashed. Fuck the police! These nuns said, "Fuck the police." The abbess closed the door after them with a sigh of relief. "Thank you, girls. I owe you one." Moments after, the nuns went to find Kiana and Nahima, who had remained perfectly still in their hiding place. Why are you so scared of nuns? None to be afraid of? I mean, personally, I'm not scared of nuns because I'm not Catholic. Being an atheist, I'm not actually particularly scared of nuns. You know, they, like, give me some strong words, and I'm like, fuck do I care? I don't believe in your shit. Yeah, threaten me with hell. What do I care? I don't believe in hell. You can come out now. They left. Thank you so much for not handing us over. You have my eternal gratitude. It's natural. Have you already forgotten? You're part of the family now. Surrounded by benevolent faces, the two friends felt at ease, for the first time, in a very long time. Everything was going to be all right. They were convinced of that. Life in the convent quickly seemed like just another adventure in Kiana's eyes, and it was far from the most difficult one she had to go through. Not only was she now free to lead her life however she wanted, but the location was also quite pleasant. The convent was modest, but regularly visited, and the atmosphere there was one of constant positivity. Like all good nuns, the couple had to maintain the property, clean the nave, tend to the vegetable garden, and tackle all the tasks farmers usually tackled. In addition to that, they had to take in lost travelers or sick people, go to neighboring towns in order to help those in need, and, more generally, make the most of their education to share it with illiterates. It was a full and meaningful life, where they always had countless things to do. Fortunately, the superior was a likable and understanding woman who loathed severity. In fact, nuns would usually get along quite well and rarely be punished. In return for all of their efforts, they even earned the gratitude and admiration of those they helped on a day-to-day basis. What more could they ask for? Hey! You, Kiana, Nahima! Fleur, what are you doing here? I thought you needed to harvest your fields. And do not forget that we have changed names. We are Sister Marie and Sister Therese now. Therese. Religious names are so generic. I bet there's at least 3 sisters called Marie per convent. Kiana and Nahima, at least I can remember those easily. These 3 sisters called Marie per convent. That's funny. That's funny. I like Fleur. If the abbess could hear you, she would give you an earful. Or lecture me, that'd be her style. No thanks. I came to see you because I've heard Kiana was bringing money to the convent by embroidering huge tapestries. Fleur isn't wrong. She's not wrong! Sister Marie, like, how many Sister Maries are there in a French convent? That is correct. Since the Mother Superior thought it was a shame for me to take part in daily chores, but I did not want to remain inactive, I offered to put my talents to good use for the community. It just so happens that my creations garnered the interest of a few passing merchants, nothing more. Ooh, will you show me? It said that these items are worth a fortune, but I've never seen one before. With pleasure. Incidentally, I could even teach you if you want me to. Really? Ooh, I'd love to try. What about you, Nahima? Are you good at embroidery? I can manage, but I clearly do not have the same sensibility as Kiana does. I cannot compete with her. How cute, you're able to call her by name. Speaking of which, I thought you had religious names now. Shh, leave it there, cheeky monkey. Yeah. I think I might have made her blush. I get the sense that Nahima needs a lot of time to become accustomed to that. Let us just say that she has a relatively slow process, but this is also why I love her. Oh no, not you too. Why are there nuns? Because Kiana and Nahima took refuge at the parish near Kiana's farm, or near Flair's farm. Aren't they lesbians? How will that go? How will that go down in the convent? I mean, if the movies I've watched are an indication, there's a lot of going down in a convent. If you know what I mean. I mean oral sex. Even I'm embarrassed by that one. But anyway, there probably was a lot of lesbianism in convents. Because, I mean, gotta relax somehow, right? Sorry, you know I cannot resist when I see you blush. I get it, I'll give you some privacy, lovebirds. I have a mountain of work ahead of me at home anyway. So soon? But you have barely just arrived. Either way, it was a pleasure to see you, Fleur. Come back any time. Come on, it's only natural, after everything you've done for me. Had you not been there last winter, we probably would have died from starvation. The least I can do is to pay you a visit. We helped them with the harvest. Nice. But you'll see. I have a hunch the harvest this year... I have a hunch the harvest have been better this year. I'll bring you vegetables from the garden. You do not need to give us anything. I know, but I'm stubborn. Time to go. Good day to you two. Kiana waved goodbye to the young farmer, secretly moved to have been able to regain her friendship. The midday mass is going to start soon. We should hurry. Must we? I would very much prefer to spend some private time alone with you. I would have loved that too, but we have obligations as nuns. So this, I think, is actually going to be, like, the end. So what do you think? Should we go to Mass? Should we be good nuns, go to Mass? Or do we go with the heart option? Do we worship? Or do we worship? I want to be a bear that gets married. Yeah, won't be doing that ending just because I'd have to, like... In order to do that ending, I'd have to replay through the entire game. And, like, I can just, skip through all the choices, all the dialogue choices and everything. Or I can just skip through all the dialogue, but it just takes some time. Kiana has the answer written on all over her face. I mean, that's my thinking. Mass or ass? We got mass or ass. And yeah, obviously. Dissatisfied with her response, Kiana decided to insist a little, in the hope of changing Nahima's mind. She knew inside out ways and means to get what she wanted, awakening her partner's senses by enticing her. Thus she surreptitiously ran her hands over her behind. Ass! Ass master grass nobody rides for free. Running over ass! It's ass! I was right! I did choose ass! Thus she surreptitiously ran her hands over her behind and spoke in a seductive voice. Nobody will notice our absence anyway. There are more than enough people in the church, allowing us to vanish sneakily. Nahima gulped, obviously aroused. Admittedly, but it would be neglecting our duties. The princess resumed with greater intensity, passionately grabbing her meat. What? Oh, we can still have some fun together, do you not think? Besides, it has been so long since last time. From an outside perspective, you would have believed there was some sort of power game in their relationship. And you would be wrong. The young Moor perfectly knew that Nahima was struggling to be assertive. She was so conditioned to obey her every order that taking any initiative appeared insurmountable. More than once, she had valiantly attempted to assert herself, only to be found shaking and paralyzed afterwards, her brain turned to mush due to the excessive thinking not leading to any actions. Sexy time music. Kiana, I would like to... We should... Yes, Nahima? I would like the both of us to... I mean, if you are okay with that. I would like us to... I am not sure I understand. What would you like us to do? You see, I... Eh? Ah! I love how this finally happens, but they are in nun gear. I mean... I love Nahima just like having a complete breakdown of her trying to... Hey, Killface. I love Nahima completely freaking out over just trying to suggest, hey, you want to have sex? Kiana thus knew that she had to be the one taking the initiative, or Nahima would never dare to do anything. All the more so considering the former lady-in-waiting genuinely needed to be immersed in a sultry atmosphere if she was to relax. They would sometimes make fun of that quirk among themselves, joking that Nahima could only begin to let herself go after having her first orgasm. Perceiving some hesitation, the princess became more pressing and slowly moved her fingers towards her crotch until she was caressing her in an explicit way. Nahima instantly shuddered and, as red as a beetroot, clumsily tried to protest. Little devil, it is not fair to tempt me so much. Yeah, but... if you're good... You need some sins if you're going to confess them, right? Kiana got a predator face. Because she's being kind of predatory right now. Oh, but we both know that you like that, do you not? With a bewitching gait, Kiana came even closer and whispered into her ear the sweetest of poisons. have been looking at you closely this morning. I know you are craving it. Why resist what your body is asking for? Follow me and, when we will be done, you will not even be able to walk properly anymore, for you will be too intoxicated by your own pleasure. The tilde always gets me. Whoops. She had just dealt the final blow. The former retainer stopped playing coy. She was too busy fantasizing about how she would moan for an hour. Let us do it. I cannot hold back anymore. Kiana's fingers immediately stopped moving. If she does drop the sister act and get some bad habits soon undone. See, you can be honest with yourself. Then two maidens discreetly climbed the stairs, the rooms having been left vacant as the procession was gathering in front of the parish. Once the door was locked behind them as a precautionary measure, they removed their headdresses in order to be more comfortable. Seething with excitement, Kiana could not wait any longer. She took advantage of Nahima's distraction to push her against the bed, sensually pinning her down. Flashing her most beautiful, predatory smile, she stared at her while running her tongue over her lips. You cannot escape me now. But I do not want to go anywhere. Good, because I refuse to share. I want you for me, and me alone. Those 6 lifetimes of doing stuff really made us a cougar. I mean, each life only lasted a few months, like maybe a year or two. At most. Hey, Ginny. They kissed. Greedily, frenetically, their tongues intertwined, eager to obtain more. Roused by this introduction, Kiana started to untie the rope belt that was preventing her from reaching the promised land. They all had big events. I'd consider it a lifetime timeline. Yeah, they were all pretty notable lives. With a skillful movement, she released the tunic and delicately lifted it, exposing Nahima's skin fragment by fragment until her whole body was finally revealed. Her first reflex was to piously gaze upon it, as if it had been a sacred relic, before kissing her from top to bottom. No fraction of skin was allowed to elude Kiana, therefore she brushed her lips everywhere, against her legs, against her thighs, against her stomach, or against her navel, against her stomach, against her chest, against her neck, and once again, against her mouth. Lesbian sex in the church is crazy. I mean, it seems appropriate to me. As she was carefully doing her work, she would lovingly repeat, "How beautiful you are." The thin string of saliva which was still binding their lips together disintegrated with these words. This is very pretty. Like, this one's very pretty. I like the soft colors used. You often tell me that, and yet it seems like I will never be used to it. I still find myself to be too large, too short, too this, too that. If I could, I would rather have your figure. You are so tall and good-looking, with long, soft, curly hair, and a little flat belly. I pale in comparison. The princess chuckled tenderly. Come now, Nehema. You are perfect. You have curves in all the right places. Your proportions are completely normal, whereas, in contrast, I am so scrawny I look like a beanpole. Love me a watercolor hoe. But, perhaps we've been created this way so that we would be to each other's liking. I prefer thinking in those terms. I find that much more romantic than focusing on trivial details. The former lady-in-waiting tried to protest, but Kiana did not give her the chance to. She kissed her again, even more passionately than previously. Her lips interrupted their dance, sliding down her neck, making her prey shiver with delight before going back up to explore her mouth. The sensation, erotic, voluptuous, was so irresistible that Nehema remained quiet, forgetting everything she wanted to say. This is the perfect technique to prevent you from saying anything silly. This is unfair. You know full well the effect it has on me. This is how I always imagine nuns. Right? I mean, I imagine, I figure that this is just, what goes down with nuns. Yeah, it goes down. Yeah, I figure this is just what nuns do. If you are still able to express yourself, then I am doing a very poor job. Turning her words into actions, she grabbed one of Nehema's breasts and brought it to her mouth so that she could suck it better. Your moans are adorable. I want to hear more. Do not play with me too much. In that case, I am going to play with your body. Kiana plunged her hand in Nehema's undergarments and began touching her. Under her fingers, she could feel the moistness of her crotch. I see that you are more than ready. It makes me want to use my tongue. As a response, her lover felt slight jolts all over her body. Be careful. This place is exceedingly sensitive. In that case, I will go slowly. It can only make the pleasure last longer. That is how, with her expert hands, the former princess made her partner reach her first climax, and they enjoyed themselves for a good hour after that. Boobs! Blurred boobs! Blurred boobs! I feel gay now. Once the deed was done, they huddled together, lying down naked under the sheets. Out of breath but happy, they remained in the quiet for a long time, fondly looking at each other. Kiana was the first to break the silence. It's the gay agenda. I love to watch you during the most crucial moment. In a matter of seconds, you stop making sounds and you freeze like a statue. It is quite impressive. It is as though time is standing still. Please, this is terribly embarrassing. Sorry, but I find that rather adorable. Everything about you is adorable. Oh, Kiana. In the distance, the clamor of a bell was still echoing through the window. I wonder how the prayer went. I'll show you a gay agenda. And by gay agenda, you mean your poo? The young Moor mused about her comrades, about what they would think of her relationship with her childhood friend. Even if nuns theoretically had to preserve themselves for God, practice proved to be different. Sometimes some girls would lie. Sometimes others would leave the convent to start a family. The church had an ambivalent stance when it came to love between women. Even though such affairs were officially reprehensible, they were not regarded as true sexual intercourse, and nuns would be punished far more severely if they were caught trying to insert an object into themselves. Those nuns were then suspected of wanting to replace men. In fact, lesbians were not always seen as a danger. As long as Kiana and Nehema were keeping a low profile about the carnal part of their relationship, they could live their love more or less serenely, mainly because their superiors were rather lenient in that regard. Not necessarily allowed, but ignored, I suppose, would be the better term. It was sometimes ignored. And I think that was like just historically speaking as well. Some convents would kind of ignore it. What's a little grinding and fingering between friends? Exactly. Buddy bite. Lesbians just like, hey, if God didn't want us licking pussy, he shouldn't have made it so delicious. You think that's the kind of comment that would get me sent to hell? Or do you think God would hear that and be like, right? Anyway, the princess had to break out of her reverie to perceive the voice of her lover. What were you saying? Ultimately, I do not regret skipping the midday prayer. After all, it allowed us to spend more time together. And I do not regret taking the plunge with you. To think that I could have missed such a wonderful thing. She lovingly stroked her hair, and her heart started racing. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned achievement. Yeah, I got the achievement, Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. It's like I said, if you're gonna go to confession, you need something to confess. I think he'd be misogynistic. I'm sure God would be an excellent pussy eater. I can't come up with... I'm trying to come up with an obscene version of that whole... Could God make a rock so big even he couldn't lift it? Like there's that whole thought exercise, could God make a rock so heavy that even he can lift it? I'm trying to come up with a dirty version of that. But no. Beauty smite. If there is a God, I'll just think of him like a good chat type guy and not the biblical version. There you go. Take me to church. I'll worship like a real dog. Woof woof. I love you, Nahima. No matter what others may think. I love you too, Kiana. And I will keep loving you. Come what may. What if God was one of us? Just like a munch like one of us. As I was wholly focused on the outcome that had just taken place under my eyes, I felt something pulling me, as if a voice was calling me back to reality. Slowly, gradually, the utopia seemed more and more distant. Kiana's adventures were smothered in a thick fog as my soul was returning to its body. You're still dead, in case you forgot. I like that achievement. That is a hilarious name for the achievement. You're still dead, with the description, in case you forgot. It's a sassy girl, yep. Soon my field of vision was dyed black, and I woke up with a start on the temple's ground, at Lisa's side. Welcome back! What you just saw is merely one possible ending of the donkey skin tale. The one you got was quite satisfying. You have been lucky. It's quite rare to be able to guide the characters towards a happy ending on your first attempt. Well, how many attempts did I get there, technically? One would think that you already knew what to do. Oh shit! Did they just... Did I just get called out for using a guide? Did the game just call me out? God damn, game! Bear marriage face. I would need to play back through the entire game, and that's tiring. How long have I been gone? It hardly matters. Have you forgotten? There's no time here. Not really. Instead, do tell me what you think of my story. What are your impressions on Kiana's misadventures? Well, she was quite unlucky. It sometimes seemed like fate was against her. She's seducing me? I doubt it. That's true, even if some turns of events are closely linked to her bad choices. Above all, it took her time to understand who she was and what she wanted. Is that the crux of the matter? I thought her situation was improving because she was finally scaling down her ambitions. I do not quite agree. The issue with Kiana is not that she is asking too much, but that she's asking the wrong way. There's no harm in wanting to know genuine love, meeting an attractive partner, or becoming a powerful woman. What option would you have to choose to end up at bear marriage? So for that one, you have to choose the options that don't lean towards either Nahima or Medea. So like there's some choices that lead you down the path towards Nahima's ending. There's some choices that lead you down the path towards Medea's ending. Most of those are fairly obvious, just like how you treat the two of them. I think there might be a way to. Not sure. I wonder if there's a way to lock yourself in to the worst possible ending. Let's eat hairs, not split them. This is, incidentally, what she achieves in all the hopeful possibilities. No, she absolutely insists on marrying a high-ranking nobleman because she is spontaneously trying to conform to what is expected of a princess. This is what truly destroys her. And this is also what destroys the three princes, each in their own way. Wealthy and powerful, they are above the law and can do anything they please, but they secretly turn out to be unhappy and unable to call that natural order into question. They are all prisoners of an illusion. It's only through focusing on her deepest desires that Kiana can finally get a chance of becoming who she wants to be, instead of ending like them. I never imagined that a mere fairy tale could have different interpretations, or such a serious message. I never randomly choose my stories. I have a gift for sensing souls' affinities with their corresponding tales. And it's my hope that I was not mistaken about you, so I hope this journey has been most enlightening. There's a webcomic on Webtoon, Forever After. That one's all about fairy tales. It's really good. Fun, cute, exceptionally queer. I believe so. Let's get down to business. I did not take your soul to a parallel world just for the beauty of it. Did you manage to gather fragments of your memory? I silently nodded. How many? Show me your crystals, I will turn them into memories. I got all of them, all 4 crystals. I timidly came closer and presented my findings. As soon as I had done so, the quartz rose in the air, slowly swirled, and a bright light engulfed my whole being. Who am I? Why did I die? Memory shard, return to your owner and reveal your secrets. A drunk student complains about the world, collapsed on the counter of a bar. It is completely black outside. It is him, the other me I barely remember. Still a wreck, still desperate. But why do I feel like this is a crucial moment of my existence? I am cursing God for deserting me, when a man dressed in gray suddenly sits next to me. Though he is well dressed with his gray frock coat, he seems extremely emaciated, nothing but skin and bones, almost like a corpse. His smile looks sinister, but his voice proves to be warm, sweet, unctuous even. The stranger asks me what happened to get me into such a state, and, too happy to finally have a friendly ear, I confess all my woes to him. I can't be the only one who finds this guy just weird looking, right? Just something about this guy. I think that having a conversation partner relieves me, that I feel slightly better. Despite the alcohol's vapors, I ask for advice. I ask whether I should persevere with art, or give up and seek fortune elsewhere. He encourages me to push on with my passion. Your recommendation seems quite wise, dear friend. Alas, I am encountering a dual problem. Not only am I lacking the funds to be able to write free from want, but I also have no guarantee I even have the talent needed for my books to be good. Am I going to starve to death? Or make a fool of myself in front of my colleagues? A rictus appears on his lips. What if I were to tell you, my friend, that I might have the solution to both of these issues, and much more? You are pulling my strings. I cannot believe you. Yet this is real. I have in my possession curious items that look like they come straight out of a fairy tale. Here is Fortunatus' purse that made me the gentleman I am today. Both of these men are scary. That purse looks pretty ordinary to me. It is absolutely not. This is a magical purse. You can take as many gold coins as you want from it. Try it, you will see. I put my hand in the sack to pull out dozens and dozens of gold coins, and there are always more coming. Speechless, I thought I was dreaming. Having already made the most of the Fortunatus purse's generosity, I am inclined to give it to you, so that you can achieve your ambitions. I also include the Muse's ring, as it will allow you to regain confidence and finish your novel. All these gifts? To a nobody like me? Sir, you are out of your mind. I do not deserve this honor. I insist. I was moved by the story of your misfortune, and I very much wish to help you as a friend. Besides, think about this lady you are dreaming of approaching. Marguerite, was it not? Would she not be impressed by your newfound wealth? How do you know? I do not remember giving you her name. An intuition. Come now, you know you cannot refuse. I only have one favor to ask in exchange. Anything you want, my friend. Since the beginning of our conversation, I have been admiring your shadow. I find it hard to believe that you would step on such a magnificent treasure. My shadow? Come now, the alcohol is going to your head too. What kind of deal is this? I assure you that I am serious. Allow me to pick up your shadow, and I will let you have Fortunatus' purse without any regret, because it is priceless to me. I stare at him. Despite my clouded mind, I do realize that there is something shady about this. How could a man be willing to give away infinite wealth for something of no value? But I consider it an eccentricity. After all, if this mysterious stranger has magical objects in his possession, why would he not be collecting shadows as well? I eventually assent. Very well. We have a deal. This is what I wanted to hear. I had hardly shaken his hand when he disappeared into thin air, as if he were a cloud of smoke, only leaving his sardonic laugh behind. Dazed, left alone with Fortunatus' purse and the Muse's ring, I finally grasped who I had been dealing with. Could it have been Satan? The devil? Next shard. Months have passed, and my life has radically changed since that fateful night. I was rich, fabulously rich. No pleasure was too sophisticated for me. I could allow myself anything. Anything. If truth be told, my wealth had far-reaching implications. Even if I had the means to become the happiest man in the world, I was lying low day and night in my luxurious mansion, with a loyal servant named Peter, the only one to know my secret. I could only go out at night or on rainy days, for fear of someone noticing the unavoidable. The man dressed in grey had described our deal as a triviality, and, because I was not in full possession of my faculties then, I had had no trouble believing him. In reality, a man without a shadow belongs to the dead more than he belongs to the living. As soon as people notice its absence, terror spreads in the room. For the rest of society, I am a monster, an aberration, no matter how rich I have become. I had entertained the hope of meeting the stranger again and buying back the part of me I once thought useless. In vain, he had vanished from this earth. Are we in hell? Purgatory. Months have passed, and I am now filling the vast majority of my time writing at my desk. Handwritten pages pile up at lightning speed. Every time Peter comes in to offer me some tea, another tower made of paper emerges from the ground. I know he admires my efficiency. I wish I could tell him this is all due to the Muse's ring, but I do not have that courage. Just as I did not venture to tell him who was the stranger behind my condition. I do not want to lose the respect he still has for me.
Today promises to be yet another productive day, sir.
Indeed, Peter. I feel I am almost done with this new novel. After some finishing touches, you will be able to bring it to my publisher.
I hope he will find it to his liking.
Me too, Peter. Me too. In truth, I knew it hardly mattered. He would profess to like my novel, be it good or bad. I thought I was being astute by paying him handsomely in order to see my writing finally being published. But all the riches and magic in the world are not always enough. My books were selling poorly, struggling to find an audience. And here I had been hopping up and down at the idea of receiving feedback from my readers. My excitement had quickly turned into disappointment. I did not lose heart and kept trying, even if the overall indifference was weighing on me at all times. Luckily, I was not entirely alone. There was someone who was counting on me. Hey, Jessica. Rewatch crew, sounds good? As luck would have it, Marguerite, the one I was yearning after from afar, had become my most assiduous and zealous reader. We were exchanging letters, and she would confide to me her latest impressions on my novels, her questions, her expectations, but also reveal a bit of her own life. The mere fact that she was supporting me and genuinely eager to discover my next books was far more valuable to me than Fortunata's purse would ever be. I felt as though we had known each other for years, and my crush for her had only grown stronger. Her words could get so sweet sometimes that I would catch myself dreaming about my love being mutual. Every so often, when melancholy would take hold of me and doubts would creep in, I would open my desk drawer to read some of her letters again. It was all I ever needed to regain hope. Love is the greatest treasure of all. The true inspiration.
I have reckless thoughts, dear friend. I know you can hardly stand the crowd, and you are said to be quite reserved, but I am longing to finally meet you in the flesh. What would you say of accompanying me for a simple walk? I will make sure that nothing can disturb us, and you will be able to enjoy the sunny weather in my company. Please say yes, just this once.
Many times I had resisted, found an excuse, fearing that Marguerite would realize the fraud. But I so badly wanted to see her that I soon gave in to her enthusiastic requests. One fine spring afternoon, I left my house alone, in full sunlight. Shard number 3. The man dressed in grey had stolen more than a shadow. He had seized my whole existence. Ever since that day, the cursed day my secret was discovered, the supposedly happy day I was meant to meet Marguerite, everything had changed. I had become an outcast, and was forced to flee the city by rocks and booze, leaving the honest Peter with enough gold to ensure he would have a better life than mine. One afternoon in spring, I stole a sponge from work. It was today. Leaving the woman I was in love with. Now alone, I settled on a tiny island in Brittany. At world's end, surely I would be left in peace. Secluded like a hermit, I nonetheless learned that Marguerite had married someone else in my absence. How could it have been otherwise? I had never given her a chance to approach me. Even if I did not bear a grudge against her, the news still made me plummet into despair. That is when the man dressed in grey appeared in front of me again, to offer a remedy. I see that you are suffering tremendously since our last meeting. What about one last favor? I can give you the power to convert pain into masterpieces. As soon as you will be writing, crowds will rush to read you. You will finally obtain the recognition you were aching for. At least, as long as you feed into your negative emotions. Deceiver, I know your greed. Have you not had enough? My entire life is ruined because of you. I will not deny my misdeed. After all, my purpose is to hurt men. Still, think about it. If you accept this new deal, your pain will finally have a meeting. And what price do I need to pay this time? Is that not obvious? Now that I have obtained your shadow, your time is what I desire. Let us just say 30 little years. You will die young but famous. Your lifespan, in exchange for a chance to give your life meaning, to leave a mark and be remembered for posterity. Is that not what you want with all your heart? The bastard knew everything there was to know about me. How can one fight against the devil himself? Very well. You will have them if it might mean the end of my torment. Revel in my misfortune, miscreant. Broken and miserable, I thus sold 30 years of my life. For a time, it seemed that my life was regaining a semblance of color. I was still writing at a relentless pace, and my harrowing books quickly gained some popularity. It seemed that the power I had just obtained was allowing me to move readers through the paper, through the words, so much so that they would sometimes uncontrollably burst into tears. My books became known for arousing emotions, and I managed to gather an army of dedicated admirers. Unfortunately, it was already too late. I should have been satisfied by this unhoped-for fame, and I was not. I began doubting the sincerity of my art. Was it truly desirable to succeed when everything I had at my disposal, money, inspiration, and talent, had been given to me by the devil himself? Worse still, the slightest spark of happiness had become loathsome. I had to wallow in my suffering all the time for the magic to work. And it was not without consequences. After some time, the pain eventually corrupted me from the inside, and made me lose my mind. I had lost sight of who I was, and what I aspired to do. Then, because I was no longer the master of my own destiny, I eventually committed the unforgivable. Because nothing could satisfy my monstrous appetite anymore, because it was still not painful enough, I climbed to the top of my lighthouse. The sky was gorgeous, of a dizzying blue, and I was still a slave to fate. In one last moment of clarity, I tried to free myself and end my torments. I jumped. The devil will not get anything from me anymore! No shadow appeared on the ground, and I realized with sadness that I'd actually already died a long time ago. I like this little parable type deal. Indeed! The light abruptly vanished. Opening my eyes wide, I realized that I had returned to purgatory. Lise was staring at me with a piercing look. So? I think that some memories are coming back to me, but they are scattered and faint. I'm still missing too many pieces to be able to put back the puzzle together. Lise sighed loudly. Did you not want to try hard? I don't understand. All the elements were in place for you to recover your memory. I had high hopes too. She appeared so disappointed that I felt a touch of guilt. What is going to happen to me? You will be locked in the purification hall for 3 days, as planned. That being said, if you failed the nematherapy ritual, you have very little chances of succeeding with a mere meditation session. I'm afraid the dice are already cast. But wait, I collected all the memories. What happened next proved the young woman right. Although I had let her guide me without making a fuss, the vapors of the purification hall had a strange effect on my body, and I eventually lost the ability to see and speak. My already wavering flame had burnt out. Lise had warned me I had become a damned soul. Although I could still hear what the other shadows around me were saying, I had to learn palm language in the hope of communicating with them. The village council wasted no time deliberating on my fate, and I was quickly assigned to the temple's surveillance. My role was to patrol the quiet corridors with the help of a cane. That's some Scientology shit. Wasn't that on 3? That was my thought, Comic Brook. I got all 4 memories. At regular intervals, I would detect the bell of other priests, our distinguishing feature. It was a dull life, a bleak life. But I would piously submit to that verdict, judging that it was the only way I had to atone for my past wrongdoings. Though I wonder if, like, they chose not to see the 4th memory because of the how shitty the first 3 had been. Thus, I could not believe my senses when, sometime later, I perceived a scratching coming from one of the cocoons. Could it be that a new shadow was going to wake up? I carefully approached the source of the noise. Back to the beginning. Unlock the soul's neutral ending. I carefully approached the source of the noise. And here's the credits. I wonder if you need to play through it twice in order to get the best ending. That was sudden. Yep. Fairy mommy. Alright, we've got some time left, so I will try to get through a chunk of Medea's ending as well. The guy that made a deal with the devil is the author of the story? Not quite. So what happened? So we are a lost soul. Like, we're dead. We're a soul trying to regain its memories. And, in order to help us regain our memories, we were shown the life of Kiana, Princess Kiana. Yeah, we were introduced to her, shown her life, lived through her life. As a way of helping us to regain our own memories. And they're backers, the Kickstarter backers. Pretty good number of names here. My actual name is on here. Or should be. Pretty sure it will be. So yeah, my actual name shows up on here. That's actually a lot of backers. Yeah, this is a lot of backers. That's cool. Yeah, lots of people. Lots of people back to this. Susie Doodles. I didn't read too closely, so I don't know if there was anyone there that, you know, that I would have known. Probably not. Shh! Don't dox me, Jordan. Alright, and with that... Skip, 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 skip. Skippity, skippity, skip, skippity, skippity, skip, skippity, skippity, skip. Huh. Could have sworn I had a save for becoming a fairy. Could have sworn I had done this one as like a... Yeah, I just want to check something here. Wasn't sure if... yeah. So I think in order to... wonder if there's like a new game plus thing. Man, I could have sworn I had a separate save for becoming a fairy. I wonder if you do have to play through like multiple times in order to get the best ending, and like where you have to like... I don't know. So, I don't know. Regardless, we did finish the game. I told you we would finish this time. Even if we didn't get the best ending. We got an ending. We didn't get the best ending, but we got an ending. That's the important part. cares? Give me 1 second. This game is so confusing. Ending threw me a bit. I think part of the problem is that, like, a lot of the ending was, like, a long time ago. Like, the ending was sort of based on stuff from, like, a long time earlier. I was able to follow it well enough, but a little try hard, but overall, yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I enjoyed it. And anxiously awaiting 09. I'm buying it now, Vanna. I'm actually buying it right now. $13 Canadian after taxes. And let's get it installed as well. Yeah, I enjoyed this game. I thought it was, I thought it was fun. Some pretty good writing for the most part. Very, very dark, for sure. Lovely art. I liked the art was lovely. I got 62% of the achievements. $41 out of 66. So I've got 25 achievements left to unlock. Yes, the next game will be Class of 09, which is the anti-dating sim. Not a dating sim, it's a rejection sim. A lot to go through just to be gay, yep. Fair. That's fair. Lovely art, though. Very pretty art. some very fun stuff. And I did like the story. Kiana sort of growing and learning and trying to better herself, and then finally realizing what she needs to do to be happy. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Favorite part was the displeased anime face. Yeah, those faces were always funny. There were definitely some funny facial expressions. Uh, It is very strange to me that even after getting all 4 memories, because I'm positive I got all 4 memories, none of them are there. Weird. What happened to my memories? Huh. I liked when we were donkey. Huh. So apparently after you beat the game, the memories disappear. Interesting. Not the memories, he spent them apparently. Magic Donkey wasn't in it long enough. Indeed, not enough Magic Donkey. Narration champ. Thank you, Comic Brook. There was a lot of narration to do. The next game, Class of '09, apparently is voice acted. So that will be a nice break for me. Yeah, having a game where that has voice acting. Yeah. And multiple endings. You're talking about this with your boyfriend? Also apparently has multiple endings, so I don't think I'll bother with a guide for this one. For that one. I'll just choose whatever options seem funniest. There's some retro games I want to play, but I really can't if they're not voiced. Alright, so yeah. With this one done, give me a moment here. This will be next. No, I'm not going to start it. But is go outside an option? I assume go outside is probably quit. Oh, and hey, it just froze up on me. Anyway, we'll start that next week. We'll start this one next week, assuming it actually works next week. Because it just crashed, it just froze up on me. So that'll do for this week. So, I'll see you next time I'm live. So thanks for joining me for Chronotopia, everybody. For the adventure that was Chronotopia. And good night, everybody.